What's up, guys? Welcome to Cage Side Connor. I am Connor. Today's video is going to be my UFC ESPN 72 preview show. UFC Vegas. I don't know, was it UFC Vegas 72? There's a UFC Apex 111. UFC ESPN Vegas Apex 2872. Thank you guys so much for clicking on the. Remember to subscribe to the channel if you like this video. If you want to see future videos like this, you can also go check out some of my other videos. I just did a rankings matchup type thing for the UFC flyweight division where I ranked the entirety of the flyweight division, the rankings, the people ranked in the flyweight division. I matched them up with other people in the flyweight division so they could all fight each other. Okay, that's the video. You can go watch that. What do we got? Of course, we'll have a post show for this UFC Apex card, and then next week, very much looking forward to UFC 319. Hamzat Chimaev DDP. Will be doing preview shows for that. I'll probably make another video surrounding the topic of Hamzat Chimaev and DDP. And yeah, a whole bunch of good shit. So go over there, subscribe. I mean, you're here right now, so subscribe. Like this video too while you're at it. Also, just woke up to the very disturbing news that Anderson Silva and Chris Weidman are going to be boxing this year. In 2025, what is today? August 8th, 2025. And Chris Weidman and Anderson Silva are going to be boxing. We're going to be talking about Chris Weidman later in this video. Nuts. Just, I don't even know. Who thought of that? Who wants to see that? No one. Anderson Silva's like damn near 50. Fucking insane. Anyways, guys, let's get into it. UFC, ESPN 72, Vegas 72. Whatever. I don't know the fucking titles. UFC, just come up with something more simple. Something more simple for the fight night names. Why can't we just add up all the fight nights? I don't get it. Whatever. Roman Dolidze, Anthony Hernandez. Let's get into my breakdown. First fight then, of course, on the main card. Or the first fight will be going over, rather. Not the first fight. The last fight. Roman Dolidze versus Anthony Hernandez. Roman Dolidze coming in at plus 260. Anthony Hernandez a minus 330. Big favorite for Anthony Fluffy Hernandez here. I like this fight. I like this fight quite a bit. I really like Anthony Hernandez. He's kind of my guy at middleweight right now. Like, I really like DDP. I like Hamzat a lot too, quite a bit, if I'm being honest. But Anthony Hernandez is that guy that I kind of just want to see win the title because he's cool. I like his personality. I like his fighting style. He's really relentless with his grappling and his wrestling. Not the best striker in the world, but that's okay. You don't need to be in MMA. And yeah, I just really like watching him fight. He's like a middleweight Marab, sort of, but a bit more entertaining than Marab. Sorry, Marab. I don't mean that. Marab's entertaining too. And then, of course, Roman Dolidze. Roman Dolidze, the most forgettable guy in the top 10 of the UFC middleweight division. Coming off a win over Marvin Vettori. Roman Dolidze running a 3-fight win streak now. I believe the 3 wins are Anthony Smith, because he took that one up at light heavyweight on short notice. And he just absolutely dominated him. And then, God, who else did he beat? Vettori, Anthony Smith, Kevin Holland. Kevin Holland was in there at some point. Middleweight Kevin Holland, not a great idea, especially when he's fighting ranked guys at middleweight. Great grapplers, too, at middleweight. Never a great idea for Kevin Holland, but I'm sure we are not at the end of that. Kevin Holland will surely be fighting more middleweight grapplers at some point throughout his career. But whatever, doesn't matter. Not what we're talking about now. Roman Dolidze coming off the win over Marvin Vettori, which was a rematch, which I completely forgot about. It shows how forgettable those fights kind of are. Marvin Vettori won the first fight. Marvin Vettori kind of, I don't know. Marvin Vettori's kind of out of it now, so I don't really know how high I hold this win for Roman Dolidze. You know, it's like Marvin Vettori has this prime. You know, I don't know. It feels like Marvin Vettori never hit his prime, but yeah, nonetheless, I don't really hold a win over Marvin Vettori today in that high regards. But still, it's enough to get you ranked inside the top 10 in the UFC middleweight division. And good on Roman Dolidze for winning that one. Anthony Hernandez, rather, is coming off the win over Brendan Allen back in February 2025. Good win. Also a rematch, that one. Brendan Allen and Anthony Hernandez fought in like LFA way back in the day. And Anthony Hernandez lost that one and was able to reclaim victory over Brendan Allen back in Seattle earlier this year. Yeah, he looked great in that fight. Anthony Hernandez riding a 7-fight win streak right now, which is quite a bit, especially at this UFC middleweight division. And he's looked great doing it, and it's been a great time watching him. And I'm hoping to see it continue here. Picks for this one, I think I'm definitely gonna go with Fluffy Hernandez here. I think he's gonna be able to out grapple him at pretty much all turns. You know, I could see Roman Dolidze picking up a round or two at some point throughout this fight, but I think a large part of this fight, Anthony Hernandez will just dominate the grappling exchanges and able to get top position and kind of just whale some punches down on Roman Dolidze. I think Roman Dolidze is pretty tough, so it's going to be hard to get him out of there. I will pick Anthony Hernandez. I will probably go Anthony Hernandez sub round 4 or 5. Hard pick, I'd go Anthony Hernandez sub round 4. That would be my hard pick. So if you're betting, do that one. Yeah, I think he'll wear down Roman Dolidze throughout the rounds of the fight, and then eventually sink in a rear naked choke. And that will be that. And Anthony Hernandez will continue his winning ways, and we will hopefully move on to an Anthony Hernandez versus Reiner de Ritter, which is a fight I really want to see. So, hoping for that, crossing my fingers, all things go according to plan for Anthony Hernandez, and then we get that fight hopefully later down the year. Put that on the MSG card or something. That'd be fun. Next fight, then the co-main event. Steve Erceg will be taking on Ode Osborne. Steve Erceg coming in at minus 590. Ode Osborne plus 390. Ode Osborne filled in on very short notice here. Steve Erceg was supposed to fight. God, who was he supposed to fight? It was supposed to be. Was it always supposed to be Huntsman Park? And then it switched to Alex Perez? And then it switched to Ode Osborne? Or was there someone else originally? There might have been someone else even before Huntsman Park that I cannot recall. But regardless, Ode Osborne here now, doing this fight very short notice. I wonder how much trouble he had making weight. It is Friday, so they did already weigh in, and I believe Ode Osborne did make 125, so good on him. That can't be easy to do on a week's notice. Steve Erceg, of course, coming off 3 losses now, his most recent loss being to Brandon Moreno back in February in Mexico, in which Brandon Moreno kind of just outboxed him for 5 rounds. Of course, before that, he had the knockout loss to Kakar France, and then the very close decision loss to Alexander Pantoja, in which he gave Pantoja probably his toughest title defense thus far, which is kind of crazy to say for a guy that's on a 3-fight losing streak now, but he did. I mean, he almost won that fight. He gets that takedown in round 5. I believe that was what the problem was. I think Erceg shot, and then Pantoja kind of reversed it and then secured the win with round 5. Yeah, if he gets that takedown, he would have won, and Steve Erceg would have been our UFC flyweight champion, believe it or not. Ode Osborne, coming off a TKO win in his last fight, was on a 3-fight losing skid before that, so was definitely on the chopping block. Probably was fighting for his job in that last fight, and it went well. It went well enough to get him here. So in a big spot now, co-main event. Let's see what he can do. I don't think he'll be able to pull it off. I think Steve Erceg going to be a bit too technical on the feet for him. And Steve Erceg, also a pretty good grappler in his own right, so I wouldn't be surprised to see Erceg go for some takedowns here. I'm going to go Steve Erceg TKO round 2, right around there. I think he'll clip him on the chin with some slick boxing combinations at some point and get Ode out of there. Next fight then, Asmin Lucindo versus Angela Hill. Angela Hill plus 162, Lucindo minus 210. Lucindo coming off the loss to Amanda Lemos from earlier this year, in which she was riding a really good win streak right before that. So she ran into Amanda Lemos, and a real shame there. You know, Lucindo's only 23 years old, so she's got all the time in the world here to just get better. And fighting someone like Amanda Lemos, you're only 23, that's got to be intimidating. That's got to be tough. You know, it's that's a big step up in competition for a 23-year-old. Angela Hill coming off the loss to Caitlin Souza from earlier this year, and she was looking pretty good before that. I think she got her first submission win in the fight right before that, or maybe 2 fights before that. But Angela Hill, in her 40s now, crazy. Angela Hill been fighting for so long. We're gonna talk about another fighter that's been fighting for really long on this card, and it's just crazy how long these people have been in the UFC. That's that's something to hold your head up high about, because that's a very tough thing to do. Not a lot of people stick around the UFC for over a decade, and good on her. I'm gonna go with Lucindo here. I think she's just got all the advantages. She's a little bit better everywhere, and she's way younger, way younger. The age gap here is like 16, something crazy. So I'm gonna go with Lucindo. Probably by decision, if I had to guess. Next fight, This is the one I wanted to get to. Andre Fili versus Christian Rodriguez. Andre Fili coming in at plus 194. Christian Rodriguez a minus 225. This fight's awesome. I can't wait to see what goes down here on this one. Andre Fili coming off a loss to Milky Costa. And funny enough, so is Christian Rodriguez. They're both coming off a loss to Milky Costa. Milky Costco. Costa, not Costco. Costco's a shopping. Names are hard to pronounce. Anyways, Andre Fili was looking pretty good before that. You know, it's Andre Fili is another one of those guys that has been around the UFC for so long now. He's been in the UFC since 2013. That is fucking insane, you know? He was always one of those guys, too, throughout that time where it's just like, yeah, he'll string together like a good 5-fight win streak here and then be fighting for like a top 5 position. I don't know if I ever thought he'd be fighting for a title, but I always thought he'd be like a top 5 featherweight at some point throughout his career, and it never came together for him. I'm pretty sure he's been ranked at some point throughout those 12 years. He must have been in the top 10 at one point throughout those 12 years. So yeah, he was definitely a highly touted prospect coming in. Like, I remember probably around 2016-ish, everyone was kind of saying like, this is the next guy, and then he fought Yair Rodriguez, and Rodriguez fucking switch kicked him in the face and knocked him out with that. And yeah, ever since then, it's just kind of been up and down for Andre Fili. I mean, not ever since then, really. His whole career has kind of been up and down, but yeah, just never been able to get over with like a big win, one of those big wins in the rankings that you need, like really crack into the top 10 and become like a real household name amongst hardcore MMA fans. Christian Rodriguez, like I was saying, also coming off the loss to Milky Costa. And he looked okay in that fight. At least with him, he went to decision. Andre Fili got submitted by Costa by guillotine, like that picture was just showing. And C-Rod went to decision with him. Milky Costa, pretty good, man. Pretty good. That's what this is telling me. But yeah, C-Rod, pretty entertaining fighter. One of the Rufus Sport guys. So got that nice defensive striking style. Pretty good on the ground, has good submissions. He's a very well-rounded fighter, only 27 years old too, so he's only getting better. I'm gonna pick C-Rod by decision here. I don't think he'll be able to get Fili out of there, but I do think he will be able to win at least 2 rounds, and I think it'll be mostly a kickboxing fight with a little bit of grappling mixed in here now and then. Both guys are actually very well-rounded, so I think this is gonna be a very fun fight to watch. Definitely my pick of the fight of the night for main card at least, and yeah, very much looking forward to it. So C-Rod decision for that one. Next fight then, Miles Johns is fighting Gene Masimoto. That's a fun name to pronounce. Johns coming in at a plus 250. Gene coming in at a minus 325. I'm a Miles Johns fan here. You know, I am a Miles Johns fan here. So I'm going to be picking Miles Johns. Miles Johns coming off the loss to Felipe Lima, in which... yeah, I guess that this one's kind of telling now because Felipe Lima just lost to Peyton Talbot, and Johns lost to him, so not too good a look for Miles Johns. Miles Johns is another one of those guys where I was like, man, I thought this guy would be like a top 10 UFC bantamweight at some point, you know, and doesn't really seem like he's gonna be able to get it together there, but I do think he could potentially win this fight. I think he has some openings here. Masimoto coming off the loss to Rob Font, and that was a fun fight to watch. I believe Masimoto filled in a short notice for this fight. Correct me if I'm wrong, but this was his first loss in his career, and which was a very close fight. A lot of people arguing that Gene actually won this fight, and yeah, he's a fun fighter to watch. Was 16-0 before this one, so maybe a little chip on his shoulder that he lost his undefeated streak, and kind of wants to get that one back against Miles Johns here. I'm going to pick Miles Johns by KO. I think Miles Johns just fucking cracks, man. And it's not that Masimoto's chinny or anything. I just think, you know, Johns is putting it together here. And I'm riding with my boy. I'm picking him. I'm going to go Johns KO round 2. That's my pick. Take it or leave it. Last fight on the main card then. Eric Anders versus Christian Leroy Duncan. Eric Anders coming in at a plus 410. Christian Leroy Duncan coming in at a minus 590. Gigantic odds here for Christian Duncan. Eric Anders, of course, coming off the win over Chris Weidman, who we mentioned earlier. boxing Anderson Silva in 2025. I just can't believe that. I can't believe I woke up to that news and I'm just flabbergasted. It's thrown off my entire day. And then of course Kristen Leroy Duncan coming off the win over Andre Polyev from earlier this year, back at that London card, I do believe. Yeah, pretty simple here. Gonna go with Leroy Duncan. I think he is just better on the feet, more technical. He has a very fun taekwondo style striking. I think that's what he expertised in before he transitioned over there. And yeah, he's very fun, very flashy on the feet. There's a lot of spinning shit, which is always fun. Who doesn't like shit, you know? And Eric Anders, old, another longtime UFC veteran, and way past his prime. So yeah, I think Leroy Duncan gets it done here. Gets it done by KO, probably in the first round, maybe even the second round. Yeah, probably the second round, actually. He kind of likes to take his time, stalk his prey, make some reads, and then he'll come out with something flashy in the second round. So yeah, gonna go Leroy Duncan, KO second round, TKO second round, whatever you want to pick. Here's my picks for the full card then, guys. As I was saying, go Miles Johns, TKO round 3. Christian Leroy Duncan, TKO round 2. Some fun fights on the prelims. You know, this obviously is not a great card. I think we're all just, we're kind of just all looking forward to UFC 319 next week. And it kind of just feels like everyone's overlooking this card right now. Even most of the people I see talking about MMA right now, they're skipping over this card entirely and just talking about UFC 319. That card's fucking stacked and it is incredible. But yeah, here's my picks for this card. Picks in the green. I also got the way I think they will win in the parentheses right there. Elijah Smith on this card, son of Gilbert Smith. I'm gonna go with him TKO around 1. And looking forward to that one. So some good prelims. I'll be watching the whole thing as I do. And yeah, somewhat looking forward to it. Not really. Now, what do we want to rank this card, guys? For the pre-fight card rating, I think it's just a tiny bit of a step down from last week's. Last week's on paper, that card was a little bit better. There might be a little bit bigger name value on this card, but last week's card was just a little bit better with the matchups. I'm going to give this card a solid 4.1. 1 decimal down from last week's pre-fight card rating. And last week's card ended up being fucking fantastic. So let's hope we get another one of those. Like I was saying then, guys, please remember, subscribe to the channel before you click off the video. Like the video. Do all that shit. Tell your friends. A good one. Enjoy the fights. UFC Vegas 2,876. You can go down in history books as a horrible card. We'll see you next time.